Welcome to Zuko Builds. Today we're building this little barn door. Let's do it. So our first step is going to be cutting 4 boards to length. That's going to make up our door itself. Now this is actually going to be a sliding barn door, but my customer had all the hardware, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. A little thumbs up to that wood chip out. Thankfully that was only scrap. Alright, next we're going to be drilling about 6 pocket holes per each board. This is just really going to join the pieces together along with the wood glue. Alright, so here I'm just arranging the boards to what looks best for me. And if you want to avoid any sort of warping, any cupping or bowing, then it's best to alternate the growth pattern. And once you figure out how you want those boards laid out, let's go ahead and start the glue up. So here I'm not really cranking down on these clamps just yet, just snug enough to hold everything in place. That's because we're going to add some cauls. These are going to help keep all of your boards nice and straight. Let's go ahead and add one in the middle and one on either end, and then we can crank everything down. Now that we gave that glue some time to dry, let's go ahead and remove all the cauls along with all the clamps. We're going to go ahead and flip this guy over and start putting in our pocket screws. Now even though we gave that glue some time to set, I still like to keep it in some clamps. This is going to help keep everything aligned when you're fastening these pocket screws. I learned the hard way many times that the screw tends to follow the grain and you'll realize your boards are all wonky by the time you're screwed in. So let's prevent that. Alright, time to clean up all this glue squeeze out. I'm just taking a chisel here and scraping all the glue off. Seriously, so satisfying. Now it's time for the most tedious yet necessary part. Let's get through the sanding. I'm going to start here with 80 grit and work my way up to 220. Remember, you don't want to push down on your sander, you just want to let the sandpaper do its job. Just going to show you this first pass here because this gets a little boring. Alright, now let's go ahead and cut out some rails and stiles to really make this thing look like a barn door. Rails are your top and bottoms, and your stiles are what runs along the sides. For these, I'm just going to use some wood glue and some brad nails. Pretty straightforward. And here I'm just using my speed square to make sure that everything is at 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and clamp this top rail down to keep it in place while I add my nails. Now to cover up these nail holes, I'm just using some wood filler here. I kind of went overboard with it because I'm going to end up sanding this anyway. Same process goes for adding your stiles. Just going to use some glue, get it nice and straight. It should be pretty snug inside that fit. Some clamps to hold it down, and let's go ahead and pop some nails in there. So it still doesn't quite look like a barn door, so let's measure the distance inside of the stiles. Cut out a center divider there. That'll fit snug in between. And go ahead and make sure that that's centered. Now that we have that nice and centered, let's go ahead and add some nails. I didn't bother with wood glue here because it's not really holding any sort of weight, and it fit pretty snug in between the stiles. Now I didn't record myself cutting these top and bottom pieces here, but I just measured from each corner and cut a 22.5-degree miter. And let's pop some nails in these guys as well. Now let's go ahead and do our favorite part again and sand the top of everything. This is 220 grit. This is going to smooth out all of your wood filler and make sure that everything is nice and smooth. So I kept one of the sides just a tad bit longer, just so there's a little bit of room for error. And this is just ripping it down to its final dimension. Now this is looking like a barn door. Nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.